Hello, this is the LEGO Star Wars TIE Bomber from the year 2003. I was really happy to get this because it's the only official minifig scaled TIE Bomber that has ever been released. I have to confess though that my enthusiasm has waned a bit since I actually got this in my hands, fully built up and in front of me, because the whole thing looks a lot boxier than I would like. A lot of the reason for that, I think, in my eyes, is the design of this second hull over here, the Ordnance hull, which has quite a significant action feature actually designed into it. So they've got the two doors here off to the side, which are good for representing the panels that close in front of the central launcher that's on the front of bombers. But this has an actual launcher built into it. It uses the Technic competition style spring-loaded thing. It's a big old thing that's built into the center of this. The trigger of it is up on the top, and you just pull on that and this comes out. And this is a rather large thing. It's quite big. These work really well. They shoot quite far. It's rubber tipped, large enough that it's not going to do too much damage if it hits a human being. But I think that just the design of these doors with the tall, full height, 4 long bars in gray there, just right up against the flat sides, makes this look rather squarish to me. This part, the pilot side hull, I think actually looks pretty good, especially for its day. Uses that single printed large piece for the main canopy, and all of this just hinges up to give you access to the pilot's seat. He has no lever or any kind of control device to hold on to, but that doesn't really bug me. He does get in there fairly easily. Interestingly, behind him is the bomb bay. So, this is where the bombs are supposed to be stored over here, and they have the little bomb dispersal chute that's built onto the base of it, which kind of has the right profile to it when viewed from most angles. I don't know why they had to put that tan piece in there, but I think the overall shape is pretty good. But bombs go in here through this other hinged hatch, and the bombs are in the form of 1x1 trans light blue cylinder pieces. So you can load that up in there. And when you want this thing to actually drop bombs, this is definitely the best feature of the whole thing, how they actually integrated the dropping of bombs into this hull. Would have preferred it over here, but that space was taken up by the launcher. Check this out. All of this can be pulled back to open up a rubber band loaded mechanism that drops the bombs through this center hole here. So all of this, I'm grabbing it, I'm pulling it straight back, and then that drops out bombs down below. So there, one of them fell out, and I think the others just kind of there we go. Need to roll around a little bit. They got a little bit stuck, but yeah, they just come right out. And if you're careful with it, you can kind of get it most of the time, part of the time, to drop just one of these at a time. But this is a nice little mechanism. It's nicely hidden away. It's so well integrated with just the shape that they chose back there. I think this was nicely done. Again, wish it was over on this side, but they got the launcher in there with the best type of launching mechanism that they had for that sort of shooter. So I think a reasonable compromise. Again, the tan stuff, not so happy with. The blue I understand because they were going for the bluish tinge that these things actually had in universe, officially, but LEGO didn't have a just slightly bluish gray at that time. Definitely not blue enough. So they just used some blue around these ties during those days to get a little bit of that bluishness just in general, and also to make sure they didn't look too plain, because they could have gone with just a gray for these accents and they would have looked probably just not exciting enough to kids. Now this does have the somewhat flimsy feeling design to it, which was common across all of the original ties that they did because of the way that they attached these pieces. So there's this comes off, and then there's this actual center piece as well. So it was kind of good for simulating battle damage, where you could just take stuff apart and just make it look like it had been blown up in space and crashed and stuff like that. Useful for that. You could swap the sides if you wanted. If you had a couple of these, you could put a bunch of them together and have a 3 or 4 boom or 4 hull TIE bomber, stuff like that. So that was good. Also, you could switch the parts between the different TIEs. So you could put, like TIE fighter wings on this if you wanted to or something. Or, combine things together, which they never really showed in the instructions or anything, but I think that it was a nice design choice. I just don't like just how flimsy that feels. It's not going to fall apart on you from just swishing it around and playing with it, but I don't like the rattliness of it. The one figure included with the set is a TIE pilot. It's that same old school first generation TIE pilot, which I think still looks good to this day. The Imperial insignia printed on the helmet is appropriate and has stood the test of time well. I think that the mold here, with no other print for lines and such to define the shape of kind of the face of the helmet, makes it seem a little bit soft. Maybe even like a reproduction, which this isn't. This is an official original one, but just a little bit low on the details there. I still think it looks pretty good from most angles, and especially from any kind of distance. You can tell immediately what it is. No face was used on these. They just have a plain brown head used underneath. I think this one's actually reddish brown. 2003 was when they were making the transition from the old to the new. So there may have been some of these that came with the original brown. This does look like it's the second brown, the reddish brown version. I do not have the original box for this, but the original instructions do not include any alternate build suggestions, so that's a little bit sad to me. Overall, I really just want to see LEGO do another one of these with their modern building techniques, their modern level of detail, and modern parts to really make a new proper version of a TIE bomber. This, for its day, to be honest with you, was good. I do think that it looks boxy, especially with that second hull, but I think it was a reasonable compromise given the ability to actually shoot something from there and to still be able to bomb. Even though the bombs come out the wrong side, I'm okay with that. I think that this was a well-designed set for play for its day. I just want to see them do a new one. So thank you for watching, and please feel free to leave any comments that you have about this set or the review down below, and I'll talk to you again soon.